up, hundreds of volunteers gathered to prepare for an upcoming winter aid distribution in Hualien, Taiwan. In the United States, we see how a mother and son pair gives new meaning to soul food in Harlem, New York. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program in Taiwan. Nearly 200 Tzu Chi volunteers gathered at the Jingse boat in Hualien this past weekend to help pack supplies for the big annual winter aid distribution. Joining the volunteers were some scholarship recipients looking to repay Tzu Chi's kindness. In Hualien's Jingse boat, nearly 200 Tzu Chi volunteers have gathered to pack the aid supplies that will be given out in this year's winter aid distribution. The master wants us to deliver these supplies to our care recipients before the Lunar New Year so they can enjoy the new year. As we deliver these supplies, we also bring them our love. For the first time, the volunteers work in assembly lines to quickly and efficiently pack the 1,600 aid supplies. Among them, 23 Tzu Chi scholarship recipients have also come with their families to help out. I have received Tzu Chi's assistance. These supplies will benefit a lot of people. Even if they do not have families, they will know people care about them. Besides her, 18 teachers and students from Bukkyu University in Kyoto, Japan, have also joined the volunteers in packing the supplies.
I do not have chances to do this in Japan. I feel good about coming to Taiwan and being able to help out here.
Having packed the aid supplies mindfully, the volunteers will then deliver them to Tzu Chi's care recipients to ensure they have a wonderful start in a new year. With aid supplies in their hands, the volunteers walk into the 93-year-old Grandma Pan's house and start singing a Taiwanese song to cheer her. In return, Grandma Pan also sings a Japanese song for the volunteers. Thank you for visiting and caring for me. They also come quite often. After bidding Grandma Pan farewell, the volunteers continue to visit other families in need. We want to bring our care recipients our love, warmth, and best wishes. I hope they will enjoy peace and prosperity in the new year. Reaching out to those in need of love and care, the volunteers hope these supplies will help them feel love and warmth, as well as enjoy the festivities of the new year. Recently, the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter handed out rice to help the poor and needy in an aid distribution in San Juan City. In addition, local Tzu Chi volunteers also took the opportunity to visit their care recipients in Manila ahead of the Lunar New Year. If it were not for the assistance of the Tzu Chi volunteers, Thomas Lau, who doesn't have a steady income, would have continued to endure the pain of his recent injury without going to the doctors. Therefore, the home visit by Tzu Chi volunteers and a team of doctors was much appreciated.
I'm too old, 76 na ako eh.
I'm already 76 and can barely walk, but I wanted to come to show my gratitude because I love the Tzu Chi Foundation.
Mahal ko ang Tzu
Chi's helping hand was also extended to Veronica Littom's family. Having spent their savings on helping their son with special needs, Veronica and her husband have not been able to pay for their rents and electricity for a year now. Hearing of their plight through the boroughhead, Tzu Chi volunteers have come to the Littom family's rescue. This rice is of a big help to us because we don't have enough money in our budget this month. Besides helping those of Chinese backgrounds in San Juan City, volunteers have given out 5,000 bags of rice to other needy residents in the past half year.
Maganda po ang bigas ng Tzu Chi, hindi po napapanis, hindi po madaling
Sa isang buwan na.
The rice Tzu Chi distributes can last us for at least 1 month. It helps us to save quite a lot of money. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po.
Grateful for the help Tzu Chi has shown his community for the past few years, Councillor Richard Peralta came to especially show his gratitude.
The quality of the rice that you're giving.
The rice that you give is of good quality. We are very blessed that San Juan City is always chosen as one of the recipients of Tzu Chi Foundation.
The rice from Taiwan is not only of top quality, but also embedded with the love of the volunteers, making it especially valuable in the eyes of these recipients. Staying on the topic of winter aid distributions, but in China, Tzu Chi volunteers recently carried out an event in the Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region where more than 800 families look forward to receiving their winter supplies. But first, we see how the volunteers overcame difficult obstacles to smoothly carry out the aid distribution.
In Matou Township of Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region, Tzu Chi volunteers have begun sorting out aid supplies as early as 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yesterday, the volunteers stored the aid supplies at Matou Township office, which is about 50 meters away from the distribution site. Therefore, they have to line up to carry more than 1,000 bags of rice in relay to bring them to the distribution site.
One by one, the volunteers pass down the 15-kilogram bag of rice. Thankfully, as the township officials arrive for work, they find a truck for the volunteers. In the meantime, the volunteers still use trolleys or carry the rice on their shoulders. Unfortunately, it starts to rain, so the volunteers prop up a canvas on the truck to protect the rice as they continue to transport the rice.
Everyone is spirited and doing their best to serve our fellow countrymen. I'm grateful to everyone.
After the preparation, the volunteers serve ginger tea to the residents who have arrived at the distribution site. As the distribution for more than 500 recipients begins, the residents have lined up orderly. Among them, 13-year-old Wei Wudan has come with her grandparents.
We can save these for the Lunar New Year.
Wei's grandparents cannot carry all the heavy aid supplies. Therefore, Tzu Chi volunteers and a camera person lend a helping hand and walk them home.
I'm old and useless. I cannot work and my wife is sick.
Wei's grandfather estimates that the 4 bags of rice will sustain his family for 50 days. In addition to the rice, they each receive a jacket and a blanket.
These are made with recycled materials in Taiwan. They have been well used during international disaster relief missions.
In addition, the family has also received cooking oil and cotton undergarment. Therefore, Grandpa Wei says happily, his family can now enjoy the Lunar New Year without much worries. After the distribution, the volunteers subsequently conduct home visitations. During the visit, they come upon a solitary senior, Wei Xingcai, who cherishes Master Zheng Yan's letter above all.
I've read a letter and I think the person who wrote it has depth. She's your leader.
Grandpa Wei, who has never heard of Tzu Chi, is now learning about the charity through the volunteers who have come to visit him. Grandpa Wei then sees volunteers off as if they were his own family.
As we visit the residents of Wuming County, we can feel their warm welcomes. Almost all the residents hold the volunteers' hands and offer to treat us.
The volunteers then continue to visit other families in need.
这是全球的慈济人送给您的祝福，这份祝福的话是很深很厚的哈，也很是不是也很温暖？那你
我也祝福你们好人一生平安。你看这个衣服又软又暖，是吧？现在都是老人的在家。
Nowadays, most young people work away from home, leaving the elderly behind.
Next, the volunteers visit 2 seniors who have not bought new clothes for years. Upon receiving jackets from the volunteers, the seniors try to figure out how to wear them.
它是这样子可以，你可以把它这里的，这个可以收紧一点。
谢谢你，谢谢你们。
He does not want to let go of your hands because he wants to thank you.
From the smiles on the faces of these seniors, one can tell that Tzu Chi volunteers' gestures of love and kindness have already created a ripple effect of gratitude in these villages.
Next, remaining in Guangxi province, let's take a look at a Tzu Chi year-end blessing ceremony held on January 10th.
At the year-end blessing ceremony in Guangxi, Tzu Chi volunteers performed Tzu Chi songs to spread the spirit of great love. The family on stage are Wei Haibing and his wife and son. While Mr. Wei and his wife got seriously burned in 2014, his son, who was only 16 years old then, was very helpless. It was Tzu Chi volunteers who have helped them through the hard times.
Your encouragement filled me with confidence. With your care and help, I have no excuse to not be brave.
From being burned 94% of her body to recovering, Mrs. Wei was very grateful to Tzu Chi. She even brought her coin bank and donated the money she saved in it every day.
Being severely burned was very painful, so I am very moved to be able to be here today.
Other touching stories were also shared at the ceremony, so many attendees were moved.
I'm very moved and can't wait to do something now. Tzu Chi volunteers are down to earth. It made us feel grounded and want to give too.
With many people joining the ceremony last year, 3 ceremonies were held this year to meet the demands.
We are willing to be busier for people to join our year-end blessing ceremonies.
At the ceremony, the attendees were very happy to receive the Master's red envelope of blessing and wisdom. The ceremony drew to a beautiful end, with everyone saying prayers.
The Tzu Chi Foundation was founded on compassionate relief, but perhaps what really brought the public's attention to Tzu Chi's disaster relief effort was in the aftermath of the massive earthquake that struck central Taiwan in 1999. In today's Tzu Chi 50th anniversary series, we take a look back at Tzu Chi's post-disaster relief during the 9/21 earthquake through the eyes of then senior journalist Lin Ximing and Tzu Chi volunteer Lin Shen, who lived in Jiji, the epicenter of the earthquake.
The electricity went out and the lights flickered. Then it began to rock.
It was very noisy. I ran to my mother-in-law's room, but I couldn't open her door.
At the time, no one knew how big and devastating the earthquake was.
My wife's from Nantou, so I asked her to call home to check, but the phone line went down.
I rode my scooter to survey the disaster. The screams and yells for help was unbearable. The streets were devastated.
One was an experienced journalist, the other a local Tzu Chi volunteer in Jiji. Heeding their call in life, both put aside their own anguish to do what needed to be done.
I arrived at about 2 in the morning, and there were a few fire trucks on scene already. Looking at the Dongxin apartment, only the top 4 levels of it was left. The bottom 8 collapsed underneath. There were rescuers helping in Dongxin. However, when I arrived at Puli, it was a different scene. In Puli, it was local residents trying to rescue one another.
As Lin Ximing documented the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteer Lin Shen rushed to find a way to contact the outside world. Thankfully, she found a working telephone line at the Jiji branch of the Taiwan Water Corporation.
I knelt down and reported to the master that the disaster was very severe. I pleaded for her to quickly send help. The master was very compassionate and choked back her tears. She said, if the victims need anything, let us know. We can't let them go hungry or thirsty.
As Master Zhenyan's call for assistance went out, material aid and manpower quickly arrived in Nantou.
At 8 a.m. that day, Brother Yang Mingda led a group of volunteers to Nantou, and our disaster relief began. When I saw the Tzu Chi flag flying high, I just about broke down. I wanted to kneel down to thank them for coming so fast, as now residents won't starve. I was really grateful for their assistance.
2 hours later, Tzu Chi volunteers from Tainan also arrived in Jiji.
Trucks filled with relief supplies kept arriving. Someone had asked for me and told me they were here to cook for the victims.
I remember I spent a week at a disaster zone, and each day lunch was provided by Tzu Chi. Whenever disaster victims were gathered, one could see Tzu Chi volunteers set up food sites to provide meals for them.
These photographs taken by Lin Ximing during the disaster were sent back to the newspaper under difficult conditions, as he had to find a way to develop them at ground zero. One of the pictures he took won him an award in the year 2000. However, he feels no joy from winning.
The young boy's father was crushed in their home. The house just fell flat, and as aftershocks continued to rock the area, the father's body continued to sustain damages. When they found the body, it wasn't whole. A group of soldiers gathered in what was once the living room to help find all the pieces and put them in a wash basin. When the soldiers presented the wash basin to the son, he broke down and cried. The son pressed his palms together in a prayer and cried out for his father for about an hour. Only after the comfort of a Tzu Chi sister did he finally stop sobbing.
Tzu Chi's disaster relief efforts made headlines, with Master Zhen Yan's plea for everyone to help the disaster victims seen in many newspapers. While Tzu Chi made headlines, other news articles called the volunteers living bodhisattvas and were amazed at how Tzu Chi could mobilize so quickly to set up a rescue team at 3 in the morning or begin to prepare for hot meal distributions at 4.
Actually, this is what we do normally. So of course, when a disaster strikes, our strength is greater. But what looks like a massive mobilization to the outside world is just something we are used to doing.
The Tzu Chi Foundation might be the only civil organization in Taiwan that has the ability to call on so many people in such a short amount of time from so many different places.
It's been 17 years since the big earthquake. However, Tzu Chi volunteer Lin Shen's loving care remains, and Lin Ximing has since retired and turned to teaching journalism. In the aftermath of the 91 earthquake, though the two witnessed some of the worst suffering in the world, they also witnessed the most compassionate strength in the world. In the United States, Seasoned Vegan, located in Harlem, New York, is a family business owned and operated by mother and son, Brenda and Aaron Benner. The two put their heart and soul into creating delicious cuisine, and the restaurant has made quite a name for itself by giving diners in the area a healthier option.
My husband went on a fast 23 years ago, a 21-day fast. So after the 21-day fast, he came home and he said, I'm no longer doing fish, chicken, or dairy.
We were not happy. My sister and I were like, what's going on here?
I had then had to learn how to prepare vegan dishes. I think the whole issue with me at first was I was really thinking, like most people do, that vegan food is just different. You know, so I got all these vegan cookbooks and was trying to do all of these vegan dishes that just wasn't really satisfying for me. So then one day I just had this idea that I was just gonna cook the way I cook. I remember making my first meal and my family was like, whoa, this is really good. I became more sensitive to people and planet. I couldn't see myself eating any other kind of way.
You've been vegan your whole life?
No, I never had red meat or pork in my life. But we grew up eating seafood and poultry until I was like 10.
People feel that vegetables are like not good. It's like, you know, they have to have meat. So the challenges here have been people being conditioned to eating a particular way and thinking that there's no other way that they can eat or should eat.
Oh, in Harlem, it's even more difficult. It's either soul food culture or cheap food culture. So like Chinese food spots or like fried chicken, places like that.
One of the worst things a person can do is to try to change a person's mindset. So only thing I want to do is give you an option. Eating vegetables is a wonderful thing. And even if you do eat meat, put more vegetables on your plate every day. Vegetables, that's a body good. There it is.
People are super appreciative of what we do, and I think that's the best reward.
I feel that I'm meant to do this. Like everyone has a purpose. This is my purpose.
Next, we meet another restaurant owner who has dedicated herself to promoting vegetarianism. After her retirement from the shoe industry,黄琼瑩opened up a vegetarian restaurant to provide those who eat out with a better and healthier option. Now with 10 restaurants across Taiwan, Huang looks to continue to promoting vegetarianism in more places.
The chef puts the lotus root, broccoli, and mushrooms into the hot pot that smells good. For decades, its taste has not changed.
I found my favorite Chinese sesame oil pot tasted different from that in my restaurant in Taichung. So I brought 3 Chinese sesame oil pots to Taipei to discuss with the chef. He said the use of Chinese angelica made them taste different.
Ms. Huang Ying, founder of vegetarian chain restaurants, was originally a chief financial officer of a shoe import and export company. When she retired in 2003, SARS broke out, so she began to treasure health above all. Thus, she decided to go into vegetarian restaurant industry.
I like natural food. Back then, I thought vegetarianism would become a trend as people start to care more about health.
This is a very busy industry. I tried to persuade Ms. Huang not to open restaurants, but she was very insistent.
This vegetable and fruit juice is made with 14 kinds of vegetables and fruits. Through serving the multi-grain rice, Ms. Huang Ying wants to convey the idea that embracing vegetarianism is simple.
Adopting a vegetarian diet can be convenient. It's not that serious. As long as it's fusion cuisine, I think it's great.
This mushroom and truffle rice does not contain any oil, but it tastes amazing. Ms. Huang runs her vegetarian restaurants with standard operating procedure.
Restaurant industry is similar to manufacturing industry. It has many procedures as well, such as purchasing ingredients, cooking, serving the customers, and so on. It's very complicated.
The restaurant has incorporated concepts of Zen practices. None of the dishes contain processed food. As the grandma of 2, Ms. Huang Ying cherishes health above all and continues to explore new ways to create vegetarian cuisine.
At the end of the program, we joined Tzu Chi volunteers in Hualien's Jingsi Hall as they hosted an event in response to Ethical Eating Day, which fell on January 11th. Volunteers made a wide variety of vegetarian food to help spread the campaign to more people. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.